Well, it's going from Verizon Media back to Yahoo, our parent company. Verizon announcing it's selling all Verizon Media assets to private equity firm Apollo. Verizon will maintain a 10% stake and $750 million of additional preferred stock in the new company that will be called Yahoo. Let's bring in David Heger, Edward Jones, Analyst. And Dave, of course, we should acknowledge that our parent company, Yahoo Finance, is part of those media assets as well. Doesn't look like it was entirely a surprise when you look at the stock move right now. Verizon up about 0.7%. But I wonder what you make of the transaction here, because it does feel like, Verizon was always looking to go in a different direction, doubling down on their 5G assets here. What does it mean for the company now that they are selling the media arm?
I think for Verizon, it allows them to shed the media business, which never appeared to be a core focus for them, especially now with the current CEO coming into place with more of a background in the wireless telecom arena. That that I think for Verizon, they want to stay focused on the build out of their 5G network. And that the media business perhaps was a little bit of a distraction for them relative to their core focus in wireless.
Yeah, you can make that argument. When we look at the prices paid here too, let's get into the cost, because of course Verizon bought AOL in 2015, $4.4 billion, 2017 Yahoo $4.5 billion, and now to see that $5 billion headline number here. What does that say to you in terms of what Apollo is picking up and what they think they can do with it at that price?
Well, certainly it doesn't look like they're paying a huge premium to acquire the assets relative to what was originally paid for them. And I think with Apollo, what they see is a business that has returned to growth in recent quarters and perhaps could become a somewhat larger player in the online media space with some incremental investment I think especially the core Yahoo assets actually have been, as I said, turning around somewhat, but then I think there's opportunity within the programmatic advertising capabilities that Yahoo Media holds. And that's where Apollo may be looking to try to beef those up further and perhaps become a more meaningful player in a business where they're playing amongst Goliaths such as Google and Facebook, and so obviously a much smaller player relative to those companies.
I mean, Dave, that seems to be the big question. It is, sure, you can have ambitions for the assets, but when you've got a landscape that's dominated by a Google or a Facebook, how do you compete?
Well, one thing that Apollo may be seeing as an opportunity is there's obviously a lot of antitrust scrutiny on the bigger companies such as Google and Facebook because they've become so large that with potential changes that might happen on the regulatory front related to these companies, that may create more of an opportunity for a smaller player who has some decent capabilities in online advertising to kind of take advantage of that opportunity, depending what plays out in the regulatory arena.
Yeah, how would you kind of see this playing out too? Because we talk so much about a crazy time for SPACs and the ability for brands like Yahoo, which is known objectively here. It's a well-known company. So when it comes to brands that have that brand equity value there, and the way that we've seen SPACs work out for some of those, even Playboy, if we can look over there, what do you see kind of Apollo's plan here being down the road when it comes to maybe positioning the various media brands in the Yahoo umbrella now?
Well, certainly, I think if Apollo can be successful in continuing to grow the business and perhaps get it even better positioned, I'm sure they would be looking at how to best monetize the investment they've made, and as you mentioned, a SPAC might be one of the potential options. Certainly, even if the business were strengthened enough, they could also look at it going directly public through an IPO or direct placement. Or there may be others in the online media space that if the business is stronger, who would be interested in buying it. I think by taking it private at this point, then it gives Apollo a lot of opportunity to adjust the business and not be under public scrutiny while doing that or making investment into it. and then can potentially reemerge later, if they're successful in turning the business around and getting a position to go public or be monetized in some other way.
Yeah, well, certainly Merger Monday hitting a little closer to home for us today. Dave Heger, appreciate you coming on this show. Edward Jones, analyst.